You have now entered the world of survival horror. If the fear doesn't kill you, then something else will. Good luck. Greetings ladies and gentlemen, I am Renegade Operative, and today we will be doing an extensive breakdown on some newly released info for the Resident Evil 2 remake. This footage was supposedly captured during Gamescom 2018, so you might be scratching your head asking if this is equivalent to the public footage that was already shown. Relax, it's not the same Birkin boss fight. This was all done behind closed doors at Gamescom with the newly added liquor encounters. Let's talk a little bit about the new gameplay elements and analyze the liquor from Resident Evil 2. Lickers felt like the replacement Hunter as the new versatile sheriff in town for Resident Evil 2. They're pink, fast, nasty, and disgusting like a hooker at prom night, using their tongues or claw swipes from a long distance to get the drop on players who underestimate them. The liquor in Resident Evil 2 Remake has a few new tricks up its sleeve with the new over-the-shoulder environment. It's able to climb on the ceiling now at will, as opposed to slowly dropping down on the players from the ceiling and doing a magic trick of never jumping on the ceiling again. It's also able to do a lethal lunge from the ceiling, forcing players to think fast about their next move before being hammered. The liquor still remains blind as a bat, relying on loud physical movement to notice where the player is, so maybe you should walk slowly in a liquor infested area and you might be able to fool them as you progress. It also slightly disappoints me that a creature with sharp talons and some form of strength to push open a door cannot pursue Claire into the next area. Lickers cannot pursue Claire from door to door like zombies, and I found that aspect to be weird, so the lickers can be easily cheesed by this logic if you go into another area that's a doorway. That's just disappointing to me. Despite the criticism here, it goes without saying that I like the sheer verticality that is now being introduced with this enemy jumping to the ceiling and using it to its full advantage. There is a few more things that I noticed about the weapons and their effects on enemies within the game. For starters, if you detonate a flash grenade within the mouth of an enemy, there's this long stun state for the creature. It doesn't seem to affect Claire in the long run, even if she's balls deep in the middle of that blast radius. I assume this was done to not aggravate players if they needed to escape immediately or detonate the weapon in its vicinity and they didn't want to get stunned by a grenade. In hindsight, there was splash damage in Resident Evil Remake 1. If Chris Redfield was near an enemy, he put in the flash grenade in the zombie's mouth and he decided to detonate it within 1 or 2 feet from a gunshot. He would get damage from that, and I suppose they wanted to alleviate the stress by taking that away. That being said, there's no telling how these grenades, like frags on the other hand, will affect the player once manually thrown. I assume you can make a wild guess if you randomly throw a frag grenade out into the open while standing near it. Manual grenade throwing has been implemented, and I think it's nice to see more crowd control options, especially if the enemy density has been amplified. I just hope there's still limited ammunition for grenades, because hashtag I still need my survival horror elements should still be in effect. Acid grenades can also melt the skin off of enemies if you fire one at their position, at least when it comes to your average corresponding zombie. I'm not sure if the same situation happens to lickers. I assume so. It's some pretty grisly details at work here, and we saw that same correspondence when we saw the G1 Birkin boss fight and he got hit with the impact flame rounds and his whole body got charred to oblivion. So it really affects all the enemies, burns their skin, and it just looks so nasty to see with the graphics and everything with the RE engine. It just homes in the point that the RE engine is doing the Lord's work for RE2 Remake and DMC5 graphically. Knife durability can also go down if you decide to be a little brain dead and take out your frustrations on various cadavers within the game after a firefight. Sometimes you just need to let out all that pent-up frustration. Anyway, one of the most important bits is that the weapons for Claire Redfield now has weapon parts. You see, this was a big criticism for me in the original Resident Evil 2 that Capcom seems to remedy here. For example, originally Leon got all the cool weapon modifications and Claire was just stuck with the wanton variables that didn't feel good enough. Anything outside of the grenade launcher in Resident Evil 2 for Claire Redfield felt like it was lacking in sheer finesse. Her handgun just sucks compared to Leon's once it's upgraded and you have the 3-round burst. The spark shot was a good idea while it lasted, then you realize the fun will be over once you see that you're out of freaking ammo for the thing. Her weapons felt lacking in comparison to Leon's, so I'm quite pleased to see that she now gets a laser sight for the Browning HP handgun, and she gets gun stock and iron sights for the grenade launcher. It truly feels like they're carrying over the good elements into each campaign, which piques my curiosity to see more, which piques my curiosity to see how these weapon modifications aid the player every step of the way. A shooting range was spotted in the basement of Resident Evil 2 Remake, which harkens back to Resident Evil 1.5, the cancelled beta concept of Resident Evil 2. Despite the area being astronomically small and conflicting reports saying that there would be no new editions of 1.5 content added to this game, it's still pretty refreshing to see something new added to the Resident Evil 2 experience. I also would like to say that the morgue area has also been redone in Resident Evil 2 Remake. It looks like there's interactive trolleys now that you could push back and forth, and now there's zombies on the slab sometimes. You can gain key items from the basement by doing this method. I just think that this area in particular, it needs to be worked on. It needs more suspense. I love when all the zombies will wake up, break out of their containers, and come after the player to trap them in that morgue room. Now it seems like it's more controllable. You can cut off the zombies' legs on the slab and they will never get back up and come after you. Also, there's some individualized jump scares that I just wasn't feeling in this room. But who knows, maybe there are surprises in store when you finally go for the red key card. I just hope that it's a bit less predictable when you go into the morgue room for the second time if you need an item. I also see that there is some weather effects being reacted to when Claire walks into the rain. I've seen this before with Resident Evil 6 when Leon reacted to a lightning storm in the first area. There's also a redone STARS logo, with the font being the most notable change. A remixed version of Credit Line of Whole Staff will be implemented into this game. If you aren't aware of what that musical piece is, it's essentially the song that plays at the ending credits of Scenario B for the original Resident Evil 2.
Hey, it's up to us to take out Umbrella.
Last but certainly not least, we got a good look at the costumes that will be detailed in the deluxe edition of Resident Evil 2 Remake. Noir Leon is a dead ringer to Sebastian Constellanos from the Evil Within series by Shinji Mikami. It's a show of good faith, respecting Shinji Mikami's work after he departed the company. The sheriff outfit is a dead ringer to Rick Grimes of Walking Dead fame. Walking Dead is another popular zombie series that blew up after syndication, especially on television. Claire's noir outfit just seems to be another noir outfit done specifically for her. I can't really cite any references for it. The military outfit does remind me of Jill's commando outfit in Resident Evil Remake 1. The Elsa Walker outfit is obvious as Capcom pulled that from Resident Evil 1.5. Elsa Walker was initially the female protagonist of Resident Evil 2 before she got scrapped to add connective tissue to Resident Evil 1. That's why Claire Redfield was created to be the sister of Chris Redfield. The noir outfits create a black and white filter when equipped, similar to the filter changes in Resident Evil 5. It essentially makes the screen black and white. I assume they might have more filters in the game if you unlock them, but it's standard practice at this point to make it look like a 1930s gangster movie, so I suppose this is why the reference is there for those noir outfits. There is some criticism among the Resident Evil fan base for not liking these outfits. Taste is always a subjective thing. I think they're fine to me. I don't agree with this notion that initial unlockables have been scrapped for the sake of putting these costumes in the deluxe edition. We already seen Leon wearing a black long overcoat that's clearly not in the deluxe edition, so I think people should stop freaking out, hold your damn horses, wait until the game releases, and then beat the game and you'll see post unlockable costumes probably. Resident Evil always had unlockable costumes after beating the game. You get the costume key and you get new goodies. And before people get on their high horse and complain and they start to say Capcom is ripping us off again like they did for the DMC5 micros, Capcom is totally taking this away from us. You people did not give the same smoke to the pre-order bonuses that were in Resident Evil 0 Remastered, and that game sold 1.1 million copies. So I don't want to hear it. People didn't give that same smoke to DMC4 SE for micros. People didn't give that same smoke to Resident Evil 0 for pre-order bonus costumes. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be totally fair. I'm reserving all judgment until the game is released. There's no doubt that maybe we might get a classic Claire outfit. There's no doubt that maybe we might get a classic Leon outfit, and we might get those 1998 variants. You never know until you actually see it, but do not jump to conclusions. They had prototype outfits of Rebecca Chambers in Resident Evil 0 HD, so here's holding out hope for the same for this game. There's also reversible cover arts now. If you don't like the initial art, then you can swap it out for an image of Claire and Leon respectively. It's a bit lame that other territories get the minimalized steelbook that has just a zombie on the front and the logo, but the United States just keeps getting shafted in that regard. Here's hoping for physical pre-orders or getting steelbooks from other territories if you're into the minimalized box art. This is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this gameplay breakdown, this news breakdown of all the information of Resident Evil 2 that came out this week. I know it was a lot to cover. Bear with me. My voice is dying right now. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Tell me what you thought in the comments below and let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Later.